Alright, so here's the list of the Game of the Year nominees for the Golden Joystick Awards. Hollow Knight, yeah, that definitely belongs in the discussion. Kingdom Come's okay, I guess. And on console, they got Donkey Kong Bonanza, GOTY. That is a fucking joke. And what the hell is this? Where the hell is Clair Obscur? These people are fucking ridiculous. What's up, Space Pirates? This is your Admiral, the notoriously nefarious Dr. Disaster. And one of the most ridiculous stories to have happened in the gaming world this year is the news that Dragon Age the Veilguard won a freaking Game of the Year award.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah, Dragon Age the Veilguard won a Game of the Year this year at the Gaming Awards. And no, I'm not saying that as a pejorative. That is the actual name of an award show specifically for LGBT stuff in video games. And I don't know who this looks worse for. Dragon Age looks like shit being associated with even more queer stuff, and the Gaming Awards loses any credibility that they might have had for naming one of the all-time most universally despised turds of a game as their Game of the Year. I think everybody involved here has to look in the mirror and say,
I feel like a idiot.
Not only, though, is the Gaming Awards tainted by making the Veilguard their Game of the Year, but last year, the Golden Joystick Awards made Dragon Age one of their nominees for Ultimate Game of the Year, which really taints their judgment as well, at least in my eyes. Granted, based on when the Veilguard was released, the Golden Joysticks would not have had the benefit of seeing the sales numbers for the game, since EA and BioWare were very secretive with those numbers for good reason. So they were still buying into, that is, the Golden Joystick people were buying into the game journalist narrative that the Veilguard was super popular last November, but still, including Dragon Age on that list makes them look like shit.
Looks like shit.
It does look like shit.
Meanwhile, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a game that gamers absolutely adored. It came out of nowhere from a small AA studio and has sold 4 million units on a shoestring budget with virtually no marketing campaign and a small development team of less than 50 people. This absolutely should be a candidate for Game of the Year, and in my opinion, it should be the no contest winner of any such award. And yet, in their list of Games of the Year for both PC and console Games of the Year, Clair Obscur was not even listed.
I am not gay.
I just don't think Clair Obscur belongs on this list.
And I got news for you. That means you're gay.
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you smack that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet. We have been plowing through subscriber count at a breakneck speed recently, so it is already time to ask the following question.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
Yo!
We now have 162,000 space pirate a-holes in our Buccaneer crew, and as is the custom on this channel, with every 1,000 subscribers, I add a new ship to the fleet in order to house the newcomers. This time, one of you dropped a super chat and asked for Diva's Mecha from Overwatch. Now, I never got into Overwatch myself, so I had to look into this, but apparently this mecha does fly, so this works out. Anyhow, if you have any recommendations for future ships to be added to the fleet, drop them into the comment section and I will add them to my long list. super chats get bumped to the top of that list, and also, for your reference, I will be adding an alphabetical list of the ships already in the fleet to the description of this video, but in any case, thanks for being here everyone, and I will do my best to keep earning your viewership.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
But alright, let's take a look at Clair Obscur being snubbed for either of the Game of the Year awards for PC or for console at the Golden Joystick Award Show. Now, one thing to keep in mind when it comes to these awards that they give out, it is important to note that the nominees for the award for Ultimate Game of the Year have not been announced yet. The voting for that happens next month, and there are often games on that list. They usually put up a nominee list of 12 games, and some of them are games that did not show up on either list for Console Game of the Year or PC Game of the Year. Dragon Age the Veilguard is a prime example of this, but the fact that Clair Obscur was not nominated for either of these lists, despite being one of the most universally loved games that we have seen in a long time, is one of the most egregious errors I have seen on one of these award shows in a while. And now, there might be some people pointing out that maybe Clair Obscur doesn't belong on either list because it was released on both PC and consoles at launch. But look at this list here, and I ask you, why didn't that same logic apply to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2? Because that game was also released simultaneously on both PC and console. Why didn't that apply to Hollow Knight Silksong or Monster Hunter Wilds? Clair Obscur got snubbed. There is no other way to put it. This is Black Myth Wukong all over again. Last year, Black Myth was pretty much the most popular game that came out last year, selling tens of millions of copies. And here are the nominees for these same awards at the Golden Joysticks from last year, and you will notice that Black Myth Wukong was not on either of these lists. However, if you look here, you will see that it was one of the dozen games nominated for Ultimate Game of the Year, and it ended up winning the 2024 Ultimate Game of the Year award. But if you look at a couple of games down from Black Myth on this list, you will see that the Veilguard was also nominated, which, like I said before, is a black mark on the Golden Joysticks record, at least as far as I'm concerned. But I will say that the good news here is that at least Sandfall Interactive and Clair Obscur were not entirely left out of the Golden Joysticks. In fact, they led the way with the most nominations for awards of any game out there, which is well deserved. This is a tweet directly from the studio here, telling us everything they were nominated for. They wrote, "We're honored to be nominated for Studio of the Year at the 2025 Golden Joysticks, and that's not all. We've received 6 nominations. Best Soundtrack, which they had better win by a landslide, by the way. The music is amazing from that game. I listened to it outside of playing the game. But anyways, then there's Best Storytelling, Best Visual Design, Best Lead Performer for Jennifer English, Best Supporting Performer for Ben Starr, and Studio of the Year, which in my mind, it comes down to them, Sandfall, and Team Cherry after their great success with Hollow Knight Silksong. But anyways, if you want to know why Clair Obscur was snubbed for PC and console Game of the Year in this year's award show, and why the likes of the Veilguard was on the list for Ultimate Game of the Year last year, even though that game had only been out for a matter of days when those nominations were announced, and people were not digging it, people were not buying it, they didn't like it. But if you want to know why that happened, then look no further than this here. This comes from a Games Radar article, which I will link in the description, but it talks about the nominations this year and explains how they come up with their shortlist. It says, publisher nominations for the Golden Joysticks Awards 2025 are now closed. Every year, we invite the industry to nominate the games, people, and studios that they believe deserve recognition in this year's categories. We want to make sure that a wide pool of potential nominees is being considered. The final shortlist is chosen by the Golden Joystick Awards judging panel. With reference to this list of nominees, the judges consist of editors and contributors from our sister brands, including PC Gamer, Future Game Show, Edge Magazine, Retro Gamer, Games Radar, and a variety of industry experts. By definition, we can't guarantee that every nominated game will make the shortlist, but you can be assured that it will be considered and debated by our judging panel. We strive to create a broad list of categories and nominees which represent the best that gaming has to offer. Sadly, this always means we have to exclude some much-loved and popular titles. Well, with outlets like PC Gamer and Games Radar acting as judges who curate the list that gamers get to vote from, it is no wonder that last year Black Myth was not included on these short lists, and Clair Obscur got screwed this year. These outlets are obsessed with kissing the asses of the big money in the Western and Japanese AAA game studios, and they don't much care for outsiders. These are the sorts of people who love Dragon Age the Veilguard because that game pandered to their progressive sensibilities. They are gatekeepers, and they only grudgingly allow others to participate when they have to. For example, if they kept Clair Obscur out of all the awards, or Hollow Knight for example, then there would have been a mutiny. Or if they didn't include Black Myth on the list of 12 games for Ultimate Game of the Year last year, once again there would have been a mutiny. The good news is that this same phenomenon that happened with Black Myth will almost certainly happen with Clair Obscur this year. They will have to put Clair Obscur on the list for Ultimate Game of the Year, and I'd say that game has a pretty strong chance at winning it, so that we can all give the Golden Joysticks the salute they deserve. But I'm gonna leave it there. Drop your disdain for the way that these game award shows act as gatekeepers against outsiders into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching me, Hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.